We're testing so much because it's spread so far in America.
We're testing so much because we had the ability to test.
Okay.
Because we came up with tests.
South Korea...
Jonathan, we didn't even have a test. When I took over, we didn't even have a test. Now, in all fairness,
why would you have a test?
There was no test.
The virus
for
didn't
this.
exist. How would you have a test?
I was going to say, there was no test for this new. We didn't have a test because there was no test.
Of course.
In a very short order, we got one test, we got another test.
It was broken, the first one.
Many of those tests are now obsolete because we've, it's called science, and all of a sudden something's better.
So that was just one moment of many of absolute cringe in the Donald Trump Jonathan Swan interview that aired last night, the HBO Axios interview. Now, I want to underline that this was basically wall-to-wall a horrendous disaster for Trump. I can't play the whole interview, but I can link it in the description. You can watch it there. But before you do that, I want to show you one particular segment that demonstrates not only Trump's absolute failure to conduct a proper interview, but what it looks like when a journalist does their job regarding keeping Trump accountable.
Take a look at some of these charts.
I'd love to.
We're going to look.
Let's look.
And if you look at death...
started to go up again.
One. Well, right here, the United States is lowest in numerous categories. We're lower than the world.
Lower than the world?
Lower than
what is that?
Europe.
In what?
Look.
In what?
Take a look. Right here. Here's case death.
Oh, you're doing death as a proportion of cases. I'm talking about death as a proportion of population. That's where the US is really bad.
Well,
much worse than South Korea, Germany, etc.
You can't do that. You have
Why
to go,
can't I do that?
You have to go by where. Look, here is the United States. You have to go by the cases. The cases.
Why not as a proportion of population?
When we have somebody. What it says is when you have somebody that has where there's a case, the people that live from those cases.
It's surely a relevant statistic to say if the US has X population and X percentage of death of that population versus South Korea.
You have to go by the cases.
Well, look at South Korea, for example. 51 million population, 300 deaths. It's like, it's crazy compared to...
You don't know that.
I do. It's
you don't know that.
You think they're faking their statistics? South Korea?
I won't get into that because they have a very good relationship with the country. But you don't know that. And they have spikes. Look, here's
Germany,
one.
low, 9,000.
Here's one right here, United States. You take the number of cases. Now look, we're last, meaning we're first.
Last? I don't know what we're first in. As a what?
Take a look. Again, it's cases. And we have cases... Because of the testing.
1,000 Americans are dying a day, but I understand on cases it's different.
No, but you're not reporting it correctly, Jonathan.
I think I am, but...
If you take a look at this other chart, look, this is our testing, I believe. This is the testing, Yeah,
we do more tests.
No, wait a minute. Well, don't we get credit for that? And because we do more tests, we have more cases. In other words, we test more, now take a look. The top one, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. The top, Jonathan.
If hospital rates were going down and deaths were going down, I'd say terrific. You deserve to be praised for testing, but they're all going up.
They very rarely talk.
60,000 Americans are in hospital.
If you watch the news or read the papers, they usually talk about new cases, new cases, new cases.
I'm talking about death.
Well, you look at death. Death is way down from where it was.
It's 1,000 a day. It was 2,500. It went down to 500. Now it's going up again.
Excuse me, where it was is much higher than where it is right now.
It went down, then it went up again.
But now it's going down again. It's going down in Arizona. It's going down in Florida.
Nationally,
it's going down in Texas. Take a look at this. These are the tests.
It's going down in Florida?
Yeah, it leveled out and it's going down. That's my report as of yesterday.
So what you saw there in a couple minutes is Donald Trump try to massage statistics on this current crisis we're dealing with to basically make it look like not only is the US doing okay, but they're some sort of world leader because they have high amounts of testing or, cases relative to testing. There's low amounts of people passing away, but none of those statistics really matter as much as what Jonathan Swan is saying, which is that the United States per capita and in raw numbers has a lot of people passing away from this crisis, and that when compared to other developed nations in the world, in raw numbers and often in per capita, the United States is undeniably struggling. And Donald Trump can try to spin that any way he wants, but Jonathan Swan isn't having it. And you see him flustered, you see him flailing, you see him trying to point to these BS charts that tell you nothing of the actual reality. Because while maybe, and I can't even be 100% sure, maybe these numbers Trump are pointing to are not lies, they are misrepresentations of the actual reality. And that's what's happening here. And again, as I've noted when I covered the Chris Wallace interview from a few weeks ago, and as I noted when I covered the promo to this Jonathan Swan interview, this is what happens when Trump actually gets interviewed in a real sense. For most of his presidency and the time when he was running for president, Trump has done interviews where the interviewer just sits there and absorbs the lies, absorbs the propaganda and the misinformation and the disinformation. And so technically it's an interview. Trump's being asked questions and he's responding to the questions, at least somewhat. But really what he's doing is he's just speaking past the interviewer right into the camera, right to the audience, basically ignoring the fact that the interviewer is supposed to be there as a barrier to the propaganda, to the opinion, to the mis and disinformation with facts and analysis and context and other things. And what happened with Chris Wallace is that when that was offered, Trump couldn't handle it. Not only did he see it, as a personal attack on him, he saw being questioned, he saw getting pushback as a, rejection of him, as a sign that he was being disrespected or dishonored via the office as president, or, I'm Donald J. Trump, how dare you question me? But also he lacks the mental and intellectual dexterity to shift courses to actually answer questions if they put him on the back heel. And so, of course, both in the sense that, he doesn't like to be questioned and in the sense that he doesn't like to be frustrated, you see, him get angered, get flustered, get, emotional, get defensive. And it makes for a really poor interview. And it puts Trump, who's already a pretty negatively seen guy, in a very bad light. And that's what you saw in this interview. You saw a man that when push comes to shove, cannot handle criticism. And you saw, much like with Chris Wallace, when push comes to shove, when a journalist does their job with Trump, Trump doesn't get away with it.